Alright, the VR game's a 10, but it gets a little boring after playing it for a while.
Well, I don't expect every game to be fun every time you play it. I'm gonna say an 8.
The game's an 8, but there's no new content, just at all.
I mean, it's a one-off game, so what? I mean, some games are perfect just the way they are. I'm gonna say a 6.
Alright, here's where it starts getting good. Game's a 6, but the art style is peak. I love it.
Alright, no, that's 7.
Game's a 7, but it has really good physics as well. Like, the gravity works perfectly, and if you hit things with your hand even when it's open, it still messes with them.
It's the little things that really make the biggest difference. I'm gonna say an 8.
Alright, the game's an 8, but it has so many little secret hidden Easter eggs and just really random things that it just makes this game really enjoyable, even after you beat the story.
Alright, yeah. I think that's a solid 9.
So we're going with a 9?
Yep. Solid 9.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but the fan base is comprised of almost all children.
5. I'm really sick of these kind of games.
Wow, I was not expecting that to drop that quickly. Well, the graphics are kinda mediocre.
3.
Man, you are not having a good day today.
Look, I'm just sick of these kid-dominated games. They're annoying and they're all bad.
Alright, the game's a 3, but it will give you more content out of most games on the Quest library.
Oh, alright, 5.
Alright, the game's a 5, but it's comprised of a bunch of smaller games made by other creators, ranging from really good to kind of mid.
Oh yeah, that'd be really fun if I didn't have to play with 8-year-olds. I'm sticking with a 5.
Okay, let me put it this way. If this game did not exist, we would have these kids overspill into a lot of the better games.
I'm willing to negotiate a 6.
This is gonna piss people off, but yeah, a 6 is pretty fair.
Alright, a 6.
I can already smell it. We are going to piss people off with this one.
Oh yeah, this comment section's gonna be a living nightmare.
The VR game's a 10, but it's a remake of a flat screen game.
Oh, that's not so bad. 10.
Yes, but in all of the quick time actions that happen in the game, they now still happen flat screen in the VR game, so you're essentially just watching a movie while you're trying to play a game.
6.
Game's a 6, but for half the game, you have to carry around one of the most annoying features of any game ever. And it's even worse in the VR version.
A 3.
Game's a 3, but the story's actually pretty great.
Oh, okay, a 6.
Alright, game's a 6, but the graphics are also pretty good.
Alright, a 7.
The game's a 7, but they also censored so many things out of this game from the original copy that it's just kind of sad.
Oh. I'd say a 6.
So we going with the 6?
Yeah. We are so screwed.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but it's a horror game.
Oh, that's a hard one. I hate horror games. They scare the living crap out of me, but at the same time, they are so good at what they do. I'm gonna keep it at a 10.
Alright, the VR game's a 10, but it relies solely on jump scares in order to actually creep out its audience.
Probably an 8. Jump scares are the cheapest way to scare somebody.
Game's an 8, but for most of the levels, you are standing in one place consistently the entire time and not moving.
I'm gonna have to say a 7.
Alright, the game's a 7, but it mashes up all the games from the franchise so far into one amazing VR game and does justice to all of them.
Is that even possible?
Until I played this game, I did not think it was.
Holy crap, I think that's a 10.
So are we going with a 10?
Yeah, no. This game earned it.
Right, so the VR game's a 10, but the gameplay is a little complex to new players, and even I had trouble understanding what a lot of different things did.
I mean, eventually you'll get the hang of it, just the more you play it. I'd say an 8.
Alright, the game's an 8, but there is so much to do in this game. It is absolutely crazy. It has a story mode and just a normal survival mode where you can like craft things, build things. It's freaking great. Oh, okay, that's really cool. A 9. Game's 9, but sometimes the instructions, especially in the story mode, can be very vague and very hard to follow.
Oh, that's annoying. I gotta say a 7.
Game's a 7, but where this game really shines is in its ambience. It really, really puts you just in this whole other world, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I gotta go with like an 8.
Alright, so we going with an 8?
Yeah, I think an 8's pretty deserved here.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but it's a fighting game that has predominantly medieval weapons as your main items.
Oh, how creative. An 8.
Game's an 8, but the physics system is both amazing and absolutely atrocious at the same time.
A 6?
Game's a 6, but it is so bloody and so violent that you will feel like a dark sociopath every time you boot up this game.
Are you okay?
Yeah, couldn't be better.
Okay, 7.
Game's a 7, but it has a really creative and kind of funny art style for the dark subject matter that this game goes into.
Alright, that's kind of ironic and I love it. A 9.
So we going with a 9?
Yeah. And I'm really getting worried about you.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but we waited forever for this thing to come out, and if I'm being honest, didn't live up to the hype.
Oh man, I hate it when that happens. Really hope it's not like that with Bone Labs. I'm gonna say a 7.
Game's a 7, but I have to give it props. There is no game like it on the entire Oculus.
That's a massive plus. I gotta say a 9.
Game's a 9, but multiplayer is the game's biggest strength and weakness.
Oh. An 8?
Game's an 8, but even after this game was delayed several times, you would think they would come out with better graphics.
A 7.
Game's a 7, but the various tasks and quests that you do in this game just get really repetitive, as most of them are insanely simple and they're just not fun to do.
Oh. A 5.
Game's a 5, but the mechanics of this game, like its movement and fighting system, are just good enough to make you want to play it.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta rate that a 7.
So we going with the 7?
Yeah, that's a 7.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but is literally nothing more than a point and shoot.
Okay, 7.
Game's a 7, but the graphics are also terrible.
Alright. A 5.
Game's a 5, but the reloading mechanics are so weird. You literally have to slam your gun on, like, your belly area in order to reload your gun.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird. Ugh. A 3.
Game's a 3, but even though it's really basic, the story is pretty likable, and you end up kind of liking your character.
Oh, okay. I mean, a 4, I guess.
Game's a 4, but there is a multiplayer mode, and while it is limited, it's still fun to do with friends.
Yeah, alright, that's a 5.
So we going with a 5?
Yeah, that's a 5.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but it's filled with screaming children.
Bad, awful, 5.
Okay, but this is one of the few instances where having a lobby full of screaming children is so much fun.
I do like making kids angry. I'll say a 7.
Game's a 7, but it's an FPS.
Generic, 5.
Game's a 5. But seriously, these weapons feel so great to use. Like, seriously, best thing about this game for me is by far the weapons.
Oh, okay, a 6?
Game's a 6, but it's not just guns. You have a bow and some gauntlets and a sword.
7.
Game's an 8, but it actually has one of the most unique lobby systems that I've seen on any FPS game.
Alright, an 8.
So we going with an 8?
You know what? This game deserves an 8.
Alright, so the VR game's a 10, but it's a multiplayer fighting sort of game.
Oh, that actually sounds really good. Alright, a 10.
Alright, the game's a 10, but throughout the match, you're pretty much gonna stay in 1 to 2 spots.
Oh, there's always a catch. Okay, I'm gonna say an 8.
Game's an 8, but there's a wide variety of weapons you can use to fight people, and they're all really well made.
Alright, yeah, that's a 9.
Alright, the game's a 9, but it feels incredibly turn-based, even though it's not really.
Oh, okay, that's painful. A 7.
Alright, the game's a 7, but there's shadows.
That's amazing, an 8.
So we going with an 8?
Yep, that's an 8.